I'd like to acknowledge the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation as the traditional owners of the land on which I live and work, and pay my respects to elders past and present. What we have done is to collect a global data set of laws regulating domestic violence. What we've then done with this is to quantify various dimensions of these laws in terms of the source of the law, the number of laws that a country has, as well as the content of these laws, and then linking this to prevalence data. What this project has allowed us to do is to make some inferences on the legal configuration that are effective in addressing violence against women. The focus of our research agenda has been on understanding the processes of institutional decision-making on violence against women. So within this part, we've focused primarily on analysing the decision-making processes in the Australian Parliament using the texts of Hansard's data. A specific focus in current stage is to understand the role of women parliamentarians in discussions and public discourse on violence against women, not only in terms of the specific focus, but also in terms of the challenges that women parliamentarians face in pursuing their work in the Australian Parliament. We are looking to evaluate the impact of laws and policies not just addressing violence against women directly, but also those that have implications for violence against women indirectly. So unexpected impacts of some laws and policies. We have work in progress that looks at Vietnam's law on domestic violence and evaluates its impact on attitudes around justifiability of violence against women in the country. In the space where we are looking at other policies and laws that could indirectly impact the issue. In the context of Australia, we have ongoing work that looks at trade liberalisation reforms. It's linked to employment outcomes of men and women, and through that, implications for inter-household dynamic, including violence in the household. In Indonesia, we are looking at social policies, particularly policies that had poverty alleviation target, and we show that these policies have been impacting violence against women through their impact on poverty alleviation. We are very pleased to have our first publication out yesterday. It's a collaborative work, interdisciplinary, in line with CEVAW's focus, and it looks at the types of laws that address violence against women, specifically defined by the source of law. So in some countries, the domestic violence is regulated through criminal code provisions. In others, there may be a dedicated violence against women, domestic violence law. In some countries, there's a combination. In some countries, there are multiple laws. So we are measuring all these features of the law in this paper, and we show that the type of law matters, and particularly important to have a specialized law as it comes to links to prevalence data. But we also spend a lot of time in this work documenting the legal configurations around the world. We have a collection of legal texts. And the first step was to code the types of texts, the source. In the next step, as we are progressing with this project, what we are looking to do is to analyze the content of the text data against normative markers of laws on violence against women. So we are looking to come up with measures of quality of these legal texts and then link this to prevalence data, which would give us the opportunity to arrive at further insights into the types of laws that are linked to prevalence data, and what are the policy insights, therefore, for legal configurations that policymakers should aim at in endeavours to address the issue. So Indo-Pacific focus is key to the research agenda. We use secondary data sets, and these countries offer a number of opportunities to study the issue. And in terms of interdisciplinary approaches, we It's a collaborative work with Professor Jackie True from political science, Professor Jane Fisher from public health. So our work has Indo-Pacific focus in that we focus on the three key contexts: Australia, Indonesia, and Vietnam. In all three countries, we are using rich data sources coming from individual level surveys, administrative data. In the case of Australia, we are also using additional sources such as text data from Hansard. We're bringing all these rich data sets together and analyzing the issue from different perspectives in three different contexts. Our work is truly interdisciplinary in focus. We collaborate with chief investigators across work streams, and that's really important because there the focus is to bring the rich insights that have been so far siloed in different disciplinary spaces, and bring them together and reconcile them and be able to do something truly productive by doing that. So there are two main areas that we have a lot of ongoing work, and that's truly exciting. So one area looks at the role of leaders in promoting laws, but also shaping the social norms on violence against women. Within that area, we have a project focusing on parliamentary Hansards and looking at the role of women policymakers in driving the policy agendas on gender issues more broadly, but also on issues related to violence against women more specifically. And this is important because previous research has mostly linked the women's parliamentary representation with outcomes that relate to gender-based violence without really necessarily unpacking the nuances of the legal process that mediates that relationship. So we are able to have a detailed engagement with the policy-making process, but also analyze some of the barriers that women politicians face in their work. Within the agenda that deals with the role of leaders, we also have new work that will be coming out soon as a working paper, where we are looking at the role of religious leaders in violence against women. Specifically, we have analyzed the universe of the speeches delivered by Pope Francis. We have captured the themes relating to violence against women, and we have then linked this with global data on attitudes on violence against women. And we show that there has been a strong impact of the speeches made by the Pope on attitudes on violence against women. And we show that there are two possible mechanisms that are mediating this. One mechanism is that Pope Francis's speeches have made the religious values more salient because the Pope contextualized the issue of violence against women in the religious sort of space. And the other one is the information-seeking behavior that Pope's speeches have induced. So we use Google data and we show that the Pope speeches induce more information-seeking behavior among people on the issue of violence against women. So we have an ongoing work in collaboration with Monash Node, with Professor Jackie True, on masculinity norms. And we know, of course, that masculinity norms are linked to violence against women. And in this agenda, we are doing a detailed quantitative analysis, trying to understand what shapes the masculinity norms, the origins of masculinity norms. So the work that we are doing focuses on policy reforms. So ultimately, we want to be able to provide a rigorous evidence base on what works in addressing violence against women, and we are hoping that that would then lead to changes or new legal initiatives that would be efficient in addressing the issue.